New York's not the first. I mean, they've done it overseas in places like Stockholm. They've done it in London. Those would be the best, kind of most well-known examples. Probably when Stockholm, this is the first number up, started congestion pricing at 2006, traffic went from 450,000 cars a day to 350,000. The reduction was 22%, and it approved it permanently in 2007. So they liked their numbers there. London, congestion pricing started there in 2003. At first, the number of vehicles dropped by 18%, okay? Delays were reduced in London by 30%. Now, the thing in London, I was reading a lot about this over the weekend, the streets did eventually become clogged again. They had a lot of taxis, a lot of the ride-sharing services came back, and by 2016, reports said that some trips around London were taking longer than the horse and buggy days. Last year, they did a study from the mayor finding that the congestion was back up to pre-pandemic levels. So, you know, that's it. So this is the New York City congestion pricing and where it looks. What Caitlin was just talking about, I want to bring Alex Matthiessen in. We talk about New York City's environmentalist and actually one of the key architects of the New York City plan, right? So thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
It's good
nice
to meet you.
Good to meet you.
You know, Caitlin was saying that everyone she's talking to, a lot of them are against it because these are people driving. So they're obviously, it's a change in their life. But you can tell us the argument. I've heard these, in fact, when Bloomberg was mayor. Argument for it. What is it? What's the best argument for this?
Well, first, I just want to address some of the things you said about Stockholm and London. Yes, the traffic did go back up in London, but you have to also compare what would it be like in 2025 but for congestion pricing.
It would be even worse?
It would be even worse.
I also saw they put in like a lot more bike lanes, and they argue that the city is more comfortable to walk around and that kind of thing. So the people like you who support it say it was a success in London.
Absolutely, and you hit that was my second argument, which is they added a lot of bike lanes. They did add a lot of bus service, and of course buses take up roadway space as well. So there's some reasons why the congestion came back a bit, but on net, it's been a huge success.
Now, for people, I've talked to people too around here, that it depends on what your job is, right? And that's one of the arguments against it, is that it hits people kind of the lower end of the income ladder a little bit harder, because some of these people work in jobs where they need their car for various reasons. They might have a lot of equipment to carry, or their job, you know, whatever it is, they don't see an alternative. And they say, I can't take the train or the subway. I can't do it.
Well, listen, first of all, when you're creating public policy for a city of 8.5, 9 million people, you have to figure out what version of the policy is going to create the most good for the most people. But in terms of lower income people in New York, first of all, the Community Service Society, which is the city's leading anti-poverty organization, they did a study a couple of years ago showing that only 2% of low-income people were going to be facing this new toll. So it's a very small number of people. Secondly, if you...
A lot of middle-income people will.
A lot of middle-income people and upper-income people.
Right, but they can afford to, was the argument.
Yes, of course.
High-end people that are coming in, you know, for a Wall Street job or whatever the stereotype is, and they say, well, I don't care what the price is. I'm still going to drive because now the traffic's going to be better.
Of course. And the lower-income people, just to remind your viewers, they also get a big discount if they're under a certain income level.
What do you expect to actually happen? What will the effect of this be? For people, someone watching is skeptical. What do you think is going to happen? What's going to improve?
Well, I think we're going to see a lot of the same successes that Stockholm and London saw. First of all, we're going to see reduced traffic. That'll increase, of course, that reduction. Traffic reduction will increase over time as the toll goes up to 12 and 15 over the next 6 years. Second, we're going to get a significant reduction in air pollution, NOx and SOx, the smog that creates a lot of asthma attacks here in the city, which is particularly bad in the Bronx. We're going to see, you know, the traffic now is costing us $20 billion a year, costing the New York City and regional economy $20 billion a year. So we're going to see an uptick in economic productivity, and most importantly, we're going to see a major investment in the mass transit system, which means faster trains, more reliable trains that get there on time,
and safer, and subway safety.
And subway safety, absolutely.
It has been an issue, as you know, here in New York, especially recently. And I wonder now if people who haven't been taking the subway for a while are feeling like they have to, if that's going to be even a bigger issue. In other words, would it have been better to fix that first?
Well, listen, you have to keep things in perspective. When these incidents happen, and we've had some horrific incidents.
No, I know, yeah, the stats overall. But just the feeling, as you know, in New York is not great right now in the subway like it was however long ago.
No, it isn't, and that includes all of us for sure. But I think we do have to kind of keep perspective. We're a city of 8.5 million people. 6 million of us are traveling every day via the subways and buses and commuter rail. I think we had 10 murders on the subways this year, which is horrible. And some of the nature of the deaths were terrible. But it is it's a very safe system. But perception is reality. I understand your point. But as you invest in the system, as you make the system work better, as people start to gravitate towards the system because it works better or because they don't want to pay the toll, I think you're going to see a lot of improvements over the coming months and years.
Listen,
and I think that's going to have a real impact on safety as well.
Okay. I mean, I think the whole thing is very interesting, kind of intellectually to look at. I know why people get worked up about it, understand that. It's going to change their lives. But we wanted to give you a chance to articulate your side, your argument. Maybe it changes some minds. I think more to the point, people are just going to see how it works out, right?
I think that's exactly right. And you're always going to hear the loudest from people who feel like they're injured from it.
Right.
The vast majority of people in New York City and the region are going to benefit hugely.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.